Well, it's really interesting. The context of the AI engine is really kind of that overlay, and having developed and sold systems my entire career, that was always kind of that missing part. And I always encourage the salespeople and the deployment people to get involved when you deployed something. Go back and show the customer, how you sold it to them. You sold it on a specific problem, right? Generally speaking, or a set of problems. Go back and make those connections. Show them how to use the product, how they're going to implement it. And so we spent a lot of times kind of doing that, making sure we were closing that kind of side of the gap. With these AI engines, it's really for where we are today. It really does close that gap. It really, and you're talking about tomorrow, kind of, going a little bit beyond that with the agents. But you're really closing that gap today of connecting all the dots.
100%, 100%. I think the important thing as well is, for instance, the National Restaurant Association show was just in Chicago. And, if you were walking the floor, everybody is talking about AI, 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 right? There's a real sense of AI fatigue within our customer base, right? When people are hearing AI, they feel skeptical. There's been a bunch of studies, from for instance, from MIT, from Deloitte, that the results driven from AI are still intangible right now for a lot of different customers, hence the skepticism. But it's really just about pushing outcomes. So when we're trying to engage with our customers, we try to talk less about AI and more about enhanced outcomes. And what you mentioned, absolutely, with AI sitting on connected data, the outcomes will rise, right? So again, I think you will see a step change in adoption that is driven by enhanced performance. That's the way we'll always go. Our industry, whether you're talking restaurants, C-store, is simply too competitive for people not to adopt the best products. And what I would imagine happens in the coming months and years ahead is just people really pushing forward with having better data integrity and data cohesion, right? Because that's really what makes these AI products performant.
Yeah, it is a huge. It's still crap in, crap out. It's
100%.
as we used to say, and I think the CTOs and the CIOs and the business owners I talk to kind of get that. I don't know that everybody else does, and they see the impact of it, of a wrong name on a mailing address or something, or spelled weird or in capitals, and that's data integrity, and people don't realize what an impact that has once it kind of compounds in your databases and in your business. But
Yeah, for us, we really think about this as playing both offense and defense, right? Hence, again, PAR's focus on having both the engagement products as well as the operator products. On offense, everybody wants to drive more revenue. For brands themselves, when they have franchisees, obviously brands earn based on how many sales dollars there are. They get a percentage of that. But excess sales without fixing the underlying operations, like, your margins are just continuing to shrink, which is why even when people have banner sales years raising the prices, doesn't necessarily mean that the underlying franchisee is doing any better. And that's where playing defense is important, by having products like, a Coach AI be able to save you that 1%, 2% extra, which makes all the difference, right? We're not talking about restaurants here having, 30, 40, 50% margins. It's much smaller than that. These individual points matter enormously. So playing offense, playing defense, that's why companies like Chili's have done so well. And you see it when Chili's themselves are talking about their achievements. They're talking about both sides, right? Really, it's about expanding the operations frontier. And you will hear them talking actually more about the operational excellence they have rather than the viral marketing campaigns. But combining that is unbelievably important.